Okay, in these videos, I talk a lot about using strategies to help us and recognizing when we need to arithmetize and guess and check and all this stuff. And when I do those things, the strategy usually works and it gets us to where we need to go. But I would be lying if I said that it works every time. It doesn't. And here's a case where I actually had a good idea that I tried and that it failed. So my instinct is always to avoid algebra. I know that I can find the solutions to these equations by doing algebra, by solving the system. But I'm like, maybe there's a shortcut. Maybe I can kind of cheat a little bit and get it a faster way. So what I did is I'm like, I can graph this, right? So draw a little graph, and then the parabola is pretty easy. Because I've memorized some things about the parabola, I know that -7 is my y-intercept. So that's going to be somewhere down here. And I know that because of the fact that this is a positive x squared, it's going to open up. And I don't know where the roots are. I wouldn't have worried about that. I would have just been like, okay, it probably does something like this. Cool. Now, the other piece is a line, but it's not written like a line. So I would have just moved everything over really quick and said, oh, this is really y equals 5x minus 8. Y equals mx plus b. So okay, I've got a y-intercept of -8 and a slope of -5, or +5. So I didn't graph all the little dashes and everything and all the boxes because I don't want to have to deal with that. If a graph needs to be that specific, I shouldn't be doing a graph. And sure enough, I don't know what's going on here. Does it go through like this and have 2 solutions? Does it graze it and have 1, or is it lower and have 0? I don't know. It's too close to call. Sometimes it won't be. Sometimes it'll be like super obvious and it'll be like, oh yeah, it goes through here. Like it's easy. It's got 2 solutions. There's no other way it could be. But I don't know. I don't know. So I tried something. It didn't take long to fail. And so now I have to do it the long way. And I think this is the key piece I'm really trying to get across here is the best thing about strategies and little shortcuts here and just that instinct to avoid algebra is that even if it fails quickly. So it'll work 90-95% of the time, and it'll get you the answer quickly and efficiently with minimal mistakes. But when it fails, it happens. And at least it happens quickly. So you can move on and try something new without having wasted much time. Whereas the reverse is often not true. If you try the algebra and it fails, you've wasted usually a lot of time. And then you try the strategy and you can get it quick, but you've wasted the time. You've made the strategy inefficient because you're using it as a backup. Use the strategies as your first move and then use the algebra as a backup. Okay, so what do we do? Well, good thing I moved this into y equals mx plus b form, because if I have both of my equations equal to y, I can set them equal to each other, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to say 5x minus 8 is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 7. And when we do that, we can move the other pieces aside so that we can eventually factor. Let's change color here. Minus 5x plus 8 minus 5x plus 8. That gets me 0 on this side. X squared minus 2x plus 1. And now we factor. And when we factor, we're going to find the solutions. And we're going to see that x minus 1 times x minus 1 is the factored form of this. And what that means is that x equals 1 in order for the whole thing to equal 0. But notice, it equals 1 twice. That doesn't mean 2 solutions. It's the same number. So there is only one solution, and that solution is at x equals 1. So there we go. The math way ended up not taking a ton of time, but I think there's a lot more stuff in our heads that we need to kind of memorize in order to do it, and there's a lot of things. Factoring, moving things around, we lose a negative, we're in trouble. So I don't know. It's a tricky question. There's a lot of paths we could choose, but I do think that it's a good idea to draw very quick rudimentary graphs in certain cases so that you can see what's going on. If it's obvious, it'll be obvious. If it's not, you're going to have to do it the long way, but at least you didn't waste a lot of time trying the short way. And that's okay. It's good. Good strategy for the SAT.